Hello friends, in today's video we're going to see a few tomato cages or tomato supports that you can easily buy from your local garden stores or online. The most common tomato cage that you will find is the one that's made from galvanized steel that you see here. Now with these tomato cages you might want to use some additional support like the stake here, which you can tie to the tomato cage. And that's especially true if you're in a high windy area where the cages might fall. And make sure you get the ones that has 4 prongs at the bottom. Now a lot of people get the ones with 3 prongs and then they think that it's very flimsy or it falls off. So make sure that you buy the sturdier one. So here are these cages supporting fully grown tomato plants. And as you can see here, the tomato plants have been very well contained in these tomato cages. Again, these are the ones with the 4 prongs, the sturdier galvanized tomato cages. And these cages are very cheap if you buy them locally. So the next type of tomato cage we're going to see today is called the Ultimato cage. And firstly it might look similar to the green stakes that you use to support your tomato plants, but there is a difference. This kit comes with something called the stake arms. The stake arms basically keep all these stakes together, so it's much more compact and much more well contained than just using the stakes alone. So once you unpack everything, there are 3 stakes. Basically what you do is you make sure that the arms attached to each and every stake adjacent to it, just like that. It might take a few tries for you to figure out the distance in the beginning, but I've seen that it fits really well in this 16-inch wide container. And the stake arms can be put at any height. It goes all the way up to the height of the stake. So as you can see here, and you can also position it according to the plant that you're growing. So if your plant is growing a lot in one direction, you can add additional stake arms in that direction. This is a Marglobe tomato plant. It produces huge tomatoes. It's a determinate tomato that we've been growing in this container. And I would like to show you, this is how it looks like when we started using it. And now let's look at what happened once the plant grows up. It can support a lot of these big tomatoes. That's why I like this cage. It's very sturdy, but it also takes up a lot less space. I would highly recommend this cage instead of using just the stakes, the green stakes, because it just makes it a much better product. And as you can see here, this product can also be used to support other plants like peppers. You can see this cayenne pepper plant easily being supported by these stakes. So definitely much better than using the green stakes alone. So the next type of tomato cage we will be seeing today is the triangular tomato cage. This one is made by a company called Growtall. I know there are a couple of other companies that make this tomato cage as well. Very easy to find it in your local garden store. I got it from my local Loaves. And this is just about the perfect size for a whiskey barrel container. And the best thing about this tomato cage is that it distributes the weight evenly, and there are a lot of feet that it rests on. The only thing that I had to do for this tomato cage was to use some wire ties at the corners where the cage ends met. I couldn't secure it very well, so I used some wire ties, but it was very easy to do. I just had to use a few along the edge. So this tomato cage is actually quite big. It can accommodate a huge plant, and that is why I chose an indeterminate Juliet tomato plant to be supported in this cage. So that's how a cage looks like, and now it's time to find out whether it lived up to our expectations. So as you can see here, our tomato cage has done really well. This grow tall tomato trellis, although not very tall in height, it really can support this plant very well. I had to use a couple of rebars right here that you can see. These are 3-foot rebars, and all they do is add some additional support, because I was seeing that the cage was leaning towards one side and the rebars help support it. And this Juliet tomato plant is actually loaded with fruits, a lot of tomatoes. So I think our cage has done a really good job of supporting this plant. So for tomato cages, there are a lot of options that you have. You can either build your own, which takes a lot of time and efforts, but it might be cheaper. Or you can just go to your local garden store, like your local Lowe's or your local Home Depot, and get these really good tomato cages. For those of you who do not have access to garden stores locally, I will provide the links where you can buy these cages online, and hopefully that should help you. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you soon. Happy gardening.